and talking about Red Mage.
Oh God.
All right. Hi everyone, and welcome to WBEL. I'm numero 80, and here we have Chise with me, and we'll be the host and shotcasters for the whole gig during the whole season. And with us, we are very pleased to receive Ksaun and Reindell, who are exceptional YouTube content curators and also exceptional WoW TV players. So I'm very glad to have you with us today for this analysis video. Thank you. It's really exciting for us.
Thanks for the invite, really. I'm a bit washed up in terms of content creation, but it's always fun to join in on these kind of events.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is exciting. Thanks for putting this together, man. I really appreciate the competitive side of things, and I'm looking forward to being in a league that I don't have to do all the work for. So I'm pretty excited.
You just get to enjoy somebody else doing it this
Absolutely.
time.
So Chise and I are really excited to do this project, and really hope that it will make content that are appreciated and wanted for the players, of course. And why a blind enthusiast? Well, you have to watch the WDL Ksaun's tournaments video on YouTube. I made a joke to Chise because this is my team's name in WDL, and I make a joke to him naming the league this way, and unfortunately he liked it, so we named it this way.
You're stuck with it?
Out of pure laziness. So that's about it. Okay. I also wanted to say that I'm very sorry for the players that has found out about the existence of this league today or from the teaser video. Since content creation is very new for Chise and I, we didn't want to underestimate the toll of such a big project. So we decided that 20 players were our sweet spot, and in the blink of an eye, all spots were filled. So although, don't hesitate to share your interest with us, and who knows, maybe you'll be part of the next gig. So now that everything has been said, let's jump in the main content that everyone's interested about. So Reindell told us about your childhood. No, okay.
Childhood. Okay, that was definitely part of the planned topics. Well, I went to French school, so that was a thing. My primary language is not English, but I ended up learning my English in the Bain Linguistique program, which I think I would highly recommend to people living here, because it basically takes half your year speaking only English and then half your year trying to rush through the regular grade stuff. So that got me bilingual pretty quickly. So I guess fun fact about my childhood, but I don't know how deep you want me to go in there.
No, it was a joke. It's nice that you went with it. Okay, so for the rules, it's a roster of 12 units, customized unit costs like in WDL. The trick though, it's that there's a maximum of 4 units per tier, so we separated the units by tiers according to their cost, and there's a maximum of 2 units per element. I know that it's been really struggling for absolutely everyone. I know that Ksaun has done his roster 4 times.
Oh god. And then I guess I just want to add, numero 80, you said according to its cost, but you did revamp the entire cost system.
Absolutely.
To costs that you think are the actual value in this tournament, rather than the in-game costs.
Yeah, okay. So for the fights, it's 1 opponent per week. The opponents are known in advance. A map will be chosen randomly in advance, and initial placement is allowed in the lobby. You can also change the abilities, but you can change the equipments and the passives. So during the regular season, it's a best of 1, and everyone will play against each other's in his division. For the playoffs, it will be a classic bracket, so the top 6 teams with the most points in each division will clinch the playoffs. Top 2 teams will get a bye. And for the first round, it's really a classic bracket. So 3 versus 5, 4 versus 6. You can picture it. And the grand finale, it was decided last minute last week. The grand finale will be a live event that will be streamed directly on YouTube. I had this experience last week at GB79's tournament, and I thought that it was so much fun, but really so much fun. It was the fun was amplified by 4. Playoff rules, it will be best of 3, and grand finale will be best of 5. You're allowed, of course, to change your team between fights, and the map will be selected at randoms, like in the regular season, and the map will be known in advance. So,
Heck yeah.
for the main event, here's the statistics of the elements that the people have picked, and Dark is at the bottom, guys.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Let's go.
As one of the guys that has 0 dark units in my roster, because like how to the meta and what everybody else plays, I'm very happy to hear that.
I don't want to spoil my roster. I do have 2 dark units. However, I think people will be pretty okay with the 2 that I have. So we'll see.
That's the same way I feel. I also have 2 dark units, but they're not the ones that you see in every single one. So
I mean, you can read the disappointment in my face, but I also don't have any light units. I just went like, these 2 elements don't exist. I'll build a roster with the rest. I guess I would cut just 1 second and say, if you want to share your screen with us, that will make the commenting much easier for us. Because we'll see the statistics you're looking at.
Oh, you can't see the screen?
Right now, you don't. You're not streaming it on Discord, so we only have your camera.
Oh, I'm such a dummy.
No, you're good.
I mean, so far it was really good. It worked out.
Oh,
but
yeah.
now that we're looking at-
I think the mind games get really fun, sometimes exhausting, but really fun when you're trying to game plan for a specific roster. Because, like, you have your set amount of people, and they have their set amount of people. So the total amount of possibilities. It's not like they can just bring anybody in the game. But I think that part is a lot of fun, of just, like, kind of gear for whatever you think is going to happen that week. And in a best of 1 situation, I think
that's going to be way different.
It's going to be wild, because
and just the current rule set forces players to have like all the elements as part of their roster. So it's really more a matter of which units do I think are the biggest threats and how do I prepare for that. Yeah. So I'm thinking, units with multi-elemental coverage like Saddley or King Mont might end up being more important than they are generally, because you cover a wider variety.
Yeah.
Then again, expensive units to run. I have neither in my roster, and I'm saying this.
I think that was one reason we saw, at least in the WDL, Sephiroth. We had 3 units: Sephiroth, Wingstern, and King Bradley, who we ranked as higher than 100 cost. Like they cost even more than that. And the one who definitely did the best out of the group was Sephiroth, and I don't think it's a coincidence that he has like Omni Elemental resistance. And so especially if you're gearing for one specific team, like if I'm going against somebody who I really think their best chance at beating me is Lightning Element,
you can get Sephiroth to 70% Lightning res easily.
like no problem. It's like oh my god. So I think I definitely agree. That can be a pretty big thing. So
there's really one element that's really apart at Dark, which is a big surprise, honestly, because of they don't have a weakness. Even Light, I mean, it's not first or second; it's in the middle of the pack.
Oh, I was just saying that seeing Dark at the very bottom of the list is very surprising to me, because it's a very strong element with a lot of really good units. Like I said, I know I have 2 in my roster. They're not the most commonly picked ones, but they're pretty good. So, but yeah, seeing them at the bottom is pretty surprising. Maybe people are just tired of seeing them all the time and just don't want to bring them into this tournament too.
Part of it too, can also fall into some of those cost changes that we've made for the format. Like if I'm thinking about Dark, I'm thinking about the primo Dark unit. Obviously, I mean, like Raph and stuff are really good, but I think about Sephiroth. He's 120 in this format, which is really steep. So you're looking at that 21. I'm curious to see how many people grabbed Sephiroth. If people did, are they the ones that have him really heavily reincarnated? Because like I, for example, thought about putting him on my team, and then I was like, I'm not going to reincarnate him at all. Do I really want to waste 120 on that? Like, I don't want to do that. So I changed my mind. The one thing I will note real quick is I'm not surprised to see water high. I thought water and ice, especially now having 2 double element VCs in Dark Shiva and Dark Odin, I thought those 2 elements would just play well together in general.
Red Mage.
Oh, really?
Really?
Okay, that's interesting. I'm just happy to see Katana so low, because that confirms Sephiroth has pretty much been forgotten. But wow, so many people in the Red Mage job, which does include Ferris and a bunch of the most recently released units. I believe we don't have the Summer Glaciela on the roster, so that's not an option for the players, which kind of changes the water meta a little bit because they don't have access to a tank as, let's say, an as efficient physical tank. But still, that's an interesting split. Do note the Fist being very high with their very, very good multi-element VCs. So that might be something we see a little bit.
The VCs, there's plenty of VCs. It's incredible. I think when you don't have the element advantage over your opponent, having the VC advantage is really, really a big plus, because you really can show anything to your opponent, and you're not lacking on anything. The Red Mage group is really apart.
I have a couple of hunches about some of these. First of all, I'm not surprised to see Red Mage up there, especially in Global, man. I don't know what they're doing, but it's just like they give us a new Red Mage card every week. I don't get it.
Fair.
Fist is loaded. And also, talking about specific job VCs that are ridiculous. There's one, in my opinion, that I think is the single-handedly best job VC, and it's the Edward Elric VC. I don't remember what it's called, but it gives an insane amount of agility and unit attack resist, and 35 strike attack, I think it is, for Fist.
Yeah.
That VC alone, even if you didn't have any other Fist VCs, it is just ridiculous, and it opens up so much possibility for anybody who's on that card.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised to see that, for sure. I am curious to see the Sword Warrior. My hunch is that there are probably a lot of MR tanks under that, because there's a, like, Little Leela, Dario, Montleonis, Mariol, and I think I'm missing 1 or 2 are all
Zazan.
Sword Warrior group.
Zazan.
Zazan. There's so many.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
If I had to guess, I would bet Sword Warrior. There's like 2/3 is like tier 3s.
So I was looking at my favorite, and I'm like, Nasha is Sword Knight, but I'm probably the only player that cares about this one.
I care about Sword Knight. Maybe not trying to give any secrets away, but there is a very good, like very sneaky good card coming out soon that has Sword Knight on it, and that's the Melnia VC.
Yep.
So very similar to the Edward Elric one. It gives both agility and unit attack resist, and a bunch of reaction block rate. So if you are sick of playing against Reflex, that card is also good for that.
I talked about it, but I think it's only coming in 2 months about. I don't know with the merger. But
You think?
I didn't took the chance. Knight is really lacking. I think there's only 2 VCs that are playable.
Based off what you guys said, I'm not too surprised. The Red Mage VCs are just absolutely phenomenal. And they are missing a couple of the key, I think it's unit res or area res, one of the 2. It is missing one of those, but aside from that, it's pretty solid when it comes to VC selection. And just like you said with the Warriors, there's so many good just like tier 3 units that have it. I might have leaned into that one a little bit myself, but but yeah, no, and yeah, Fist is just ridiculous. All kinds of different elements you could work with there. And if you look at the way it's costed too, there's a good amount of 100 costs, a good amount of like 70, 80 costs. And then you got good old Mary Luke for that down there in the 40 cost. So you can make an all-strike team if you really wanted to, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
Yeah, another thing I'd like to point out is how low the missile attackers are. So Bow's at 15, Gun is at 11. So overall, 26 units between the 2 of those, which is a very small portion of the overall roster. And in a lot of tournaments that I've seen, it's it's people that can sneak in that missile team that just disables the opponent team before they reach, especially with a random map setup. You might end up on a map that units start very far away and it's hard to cross over, and then missile units are going to dominate, but a lot of players don't have those tools in their roster currently. So that's something I think is really interesting.
We're currently in a meta where missile units are really lacking. I picked Eliza and Alaya in the current season of WDL, and I thought that I will do the same that Machen did last season before, and dominating with them, but no, absolutely not. I really had a big struggle with them. I think currently it's really because of the VC support, I think, honestly.
Bo definitely struggles for VC support,
Yeah.
but maybe it's a risk. Talking about that Melnia VC again, I think if that VC comes out, that's a pretty massive one for them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But interesting. Also, huge shout out to you, Numero. Thanks for putting this together. This is an amazing.
Oh yeah,
man, this is just wonderful to look at. So thank you for putting this together.
Thank you. So, number 1 pick is Murmur.
10.
what?
Heads and tails above too.
That doesn't surprise me because there are so many good top tier red mage units or people that fit on red mage cards. Even people like Sephiroth still fit on red mage cards, like 2 or 3 of them. So
I'm not seeing any Edison Ray.
I mean, we did put her at 120 costs, so I'm not surprised that she's not been picked. Although she is a great any element kind of flex unit, it does only leave 100 cost overall for your team if you pick her, which I think is a bit steep. There is one single Sephiroth. All right.
Sephiroth.
Oh my gosh.
wait, really? That's what that means? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm so glad I wasn't the second one. He was on my roster. I took him off, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
I'm kind of surprised to see only 3 barks.
I was going to say the exact same thing. And I'm happy to only see 3 bards. Let me tell you, I do not like playing
He is
against
a
that guy.
monster.
He is terrifying. I mean, at least it's not manual. After watching JB79's manual tournament with Bart's in it, I was like, no. I don't want any of that.
Yeah. I'm curious, very interested to see 3 Dia.
Dang, now I kind of want to see your max reincarnated Dia. You're in the other division, so I don't mind.
She is a monster. I'll just say that. It adds a lot of stats.
I believe it.
As for the roles, here's the portrait.
Nobody has healers. Now that's sweet.
I know, I was thinking the same thing.
I'm glad
I like
too, because
that.
I don't think I brought any, so...
Yeah.
No, I think it's right because it shows that everyone has at least one. I think because
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, on 12.
Yeah,
roster,
5%.
Yeah,
the
so...
a little less, yeah, but
Yeah, ish. Yeah.
And I'm guessing the low amount of bruiser is just because there are so few units that are actually categorized bruiser. So it's not so much. It's either these units are DPS or tanks, but actual bruisers in North Divisions are fairly rare.
Yeah, it's hard to classify them too, right? Like for example, one unit in there, I think Shuts Out was classified as a DPS.
yeah.
And I would almost argue that he's an MR bruiser because of his and heal back mechanics.
Like we have same kind of logic with Ralder being a tank, but he can actually one-shot units, so it's kind of bruiser territory.
Yeah.
But overall, though, lots of DPS. That's what I'm reading here. Almost 60% of units. So people are going to have flex picks with their DPS and then use whatever support they have as their unit they're going to use no matter what, pretty much.
Yeah, by that same logic that you were just talking about, support at 13%, it looks like people are only having 1 or 2 support units, so it's going to be a slugfest out there with the DPS and tanks.
Lots
As
of
it should
very
be.
short fights, I think.